They told you that you're either an introvert or an extrovert. But what if the most powerful minds in the world were actually something else entirely? They're called ambiverts, a unique kind of personality that can be quiet at times and outgoing at others, depending on the situation. They stay calm when things get stressful, speak up when needed, and stay silent when it matters the most. But what truly makes ambiverts dangerous is not just their flexibility. It's a banned psychological hack they've mastered, one that allows them to silently control rooms, win arguments effortlessly, and even outsmart geniuses without drawing attention. This is not just another personality trait, it's a weapon. So why was this ability banned? What exactly is this secret strategy that ambiverts use without anyone noticing? And more importantly, how can you learn to use it without crossing the ethical line? Let's break the silence. Chapter 1. Who are ambiverts? Most people are taught that they're either introverts or extroverts. You're either quiet and reserved or loud and outgoing. But the truth is, not everyone fits into those two boxes. Ambiverts are the ones who fall right in the middle. They can enjoy deep, quiet moments, but also shine in social situations. They don't mind being alone, but they're also comfortable around people. One day they might crave silence, the next, they're leading the conversation in a crowded room. If you've ever felt like you switch depending on the environment, like you're a different version of yourself around different people, then chances are you're not confused. You're an ambivert. Maybe you enjoy late-night talks with close friends, but avoid small talk in public. Maybe you need time alone to recharge, but can turn into the life of the party when the vibe is right. Or maybe you've always felt like you're not fully introverted, but not extroverted either. That's because ambiverts don't just live between two extremes. They move between them. They observe first, then adapt. And that ability to shift gears is what gives them such a strong advantage in both personal and professional life. They know when to speak and when to stay silent, when to lead and when to listen. And that quiet balance is far more powerful than most people realize. So if you've never fit neatly into one label, maybe it's because you were never supposed to. Maybe you're something smarter, something stronger. Maybe you're an ambivert. Chapter 2. Why ambiverts outsmart geniuses. When we think of intelligence, we often picture someone with a high IQ, someone who solves problems quickly, memorizes facts, and speaks with logic. But intelligence alone is not what wins in the real world. In fact, some of the smartest people struggle to lead, connect, or even be understood. That's where ambiverts come in, and this is where their true power begins. While geniuses often rely on pure logic and focus on ideas, ambiverts rely on people awareness. They can read a room, sense the energy, and shift their behavior based on what's needed. They're not just smart in their heads, they're smart in their surroundings. And that makes all the difference. Imagine a genius in a boardroom, explaining a brilliant idea, but no one understands it. Now, imagine an ambivert in the same room. They connect, listen, speak, simply match energy, and slowly guide the room to their idea. They don't just communicate, they influence. Ambiverts use a mix of emotional intelligence and logical thinking. They know how to stay calm during conflict, how to make people feel heard, and how to steer conversations without being forceful. In short, where a genius tries to solve things, an ambivert adapts and leads people. Studies have shown that ambiverts are the most successful in roles like leadership, sales, teaching, and negotiation. Not because they're louder or smarter, but because they understand both silence and expression. They don't choose sides, they shift between them. That's why many ambiverts are underestimated. They appear quiet at times and expressive at others. But behind that flexibility is a mind that's constantly observing, adjusting, and positioning itself for impact. And that ability is the gateway to the banned psychological hack we're about to reveal. Chapter 3. The Tease of the hack. Now that you understand how powerful ambiverts truly are, you might be wondering, what exactly is this banned psychological trick they use? Why is it considered so effective and so dangerous? This hack was not discovered recently. In fact, it was once openly taught in leadership trainings, high-level sales programs, and even political coaching. But over time, experts started to realize something. In the wrong hands, this technique could be easily abused. It didn't just persuade, it controlled. It's not illegal, it's not even complex, but it works so well that it's been quietly removed from ethical communication training, especially where manipulation might be a risk. And here's the twist. Most people could not use it even if they tried. It only works for those who can naturally shift their behavior based on the person in front of them. And who fits that perfectly? Ambiverts. Their ability to move between social extremes is what activates this hack. And once you understand how it works, you'll never see social situations the same way again. The real question is, are you ready for it? Chapter 4, the reveal of the hack. So, what is this banned psychological hack that gives ambiverts such an unfair advantage? It's called mirrored energy looping. At first glance, it sounds simple, but when used correctly, especially by ambiverts, it becomes one of the most powerful tools in social influence. Here's how it works. When ambiverts enter a room, they don't force their energy on people. They do something smarter. They observe, match, and mirror the energy around them. If someone's quiet, they stay quiet. If someone's excited, they reflect that same energy. This mirroring creates something psychologists call instant subconscious trust. The other person feels comfortable because they feel understood. But here's the twist. After mirroring, ambiverts slowly shift the energy upward or downward, guiding the mood, tone, and direction of the interaction. Over time, people unknowingly follow their lead. That's the loop. It's subtle, invisible, and almost impossible to detect. Instead of overpowering a situation like extroverts or withdrawing like introverts, ambiverts blend in, take control quietly, and lead from the inside. Whether it's a business meeting, a classroom, a negotiation, or even a personal argument, this technique allows them to shape the outcome without raising their voice or even appearing dominant. And here's the part that got it banned from some communication trainings. It was being misused. In high-level sales, political debates, and even cults, this method was being weaponized. People were being emotionally steered without knowing why. So many training programs removed it, calling it too manipulative for general use, especially when taught to those who lacked emotional awareness. But ambiverts naturally possess the emotional balance needed to use it with precision. They feel the room, understand the moment, and make tiny, invisible shifts that create massive psychological effects. In the right hands, it's influence. In the wrong hands, it's control. And now that you understand this, the question is, will you use it to connect or to dominate? Chapter 5, Real-Life Applications. Now that you understand how mirrored energy looping works, the next step is knowing how to apply it in your everyday life. Imagine you're in an argument. Instead of reacting, you match the other person's energy. Stay calm, speak slowly. Once you're in sync, gently shift the tone toward reason. They'll follow. Without realizing, you led them there. In a job interview, mirror the interviewer's tone, posture, and pace. Then gradually add confidence and clarity. You'll build trust, and they'll feel naturally connected to you. In social situations, start by listening, match the vibe of the room, then slowly bring warmth, humor, or calmness, whatever direction you want the mood to go. Remember, the power is in the subtle shift, not forcing, guiding. Ambiverts master this without effort. But with awareness, you can learn it too. Because once you understand how energy flows between people, you're not just part of the room, you control it. Chapter 6. Why others can't use it. Now you might be wondering, if this hack is so powerful, why don't more people use it? The answer is simple. Most people can't. Introverts often get overwhelmed by social pressure. They may notice the energy in a room, but struggle to match or influence it without feeling drained. Extroverts, on the other hand, tend to push their energy outward, often without noticing the mood of others. They try to lead by force, not by flow. But ambiverts are different. They sit in the middle, calm, flexible, and tuned in. They don't need to control people loudly. They lead by blending in first and then quietly guiding. That's why this hack only works when someone has the natural ability to observe, adapt, and shift, all in real time. That's the unfair advantage. Most people either react too strongly or stay too quiet. But ambiverts can play both sides. And that's exactly why this psychological trick becomes a tool only they can fully unlock. And now that you know how it works, you're already ahead of most. Chapter 7, The Ethical Twist. At this point, you might be asking yourself a serious question. Is this manipulation? And honestly, that depends. The truth is, any powerful tool can be used in two ways: to help or to control. Just like fire can warm a home or burn it down, this psychological hack can be used to influence with integrity or to manipulate for personal gain. The difference lies in your intention. If you're using it to build trust, create calm, and communicate better, then it's emotional intelligence in action. But if you use it to deceive, overpower, or control others without their awareness, it becomes dark psychology. And this is exactly why the technique was banned from some trainings. Not because it did not work, but because it worked too well. Ambiverts walk a fine line. Their ability to adapt and lead makes them powerful, but it also gives them a moral choice every time they use it. So the real question is not, can you use this? It's, will you use it wisely? The closing and empowerment message. So, let's bring it all together. You've discovered that ambiverts are not just balanced, they're strategic. They know when to speak, when to stay silent, and how to guide the energy in any room without being noticed. They don't control people by force, they lead with flow. You've now seen how mirrored energy looping, a banned but powerful social technique, allows ambiverts to build trust, win influence, and even outsmart those with higher IQs, not through pressure, but through subtle redirection. And here's the best part: even if you're not a natural ambivert, you can learn to use this mindset. You can train yourself to observe, mirror, and lead with intent. Because in today's world, success doesn't just belong to the loudest or the smartest. It belongs to the one who understands people the best. So next time you walk into a room, ask yourself, am I just reacting to the energy, or am I guiding it? You already know the answer. Now it's time to use it. If this video gave you clarity or power, hit the like button, subscribe for more psychological hacks, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. And tell me in the comments, do you think you're an ambivert or something else entirely? Let's start a conversation below.